So you finally had it with your old monitor. It's too small, too slow. The colors aren't exceptional. You've seen a 1440 monitor and it's a must-have. Well, this video has information that you must hear and see. This is File 1 Man.
I've listed them in no certain order. PG278Q. Like it a lot. It's been out for a while. 27 inches TN screen, 1440 resolution, fast refresh rate of 144, and a 1ms, so gamers like it. In a little bit, we'll go through some of the definitions in case things like MS, 1ms, or G-Sync, or tearing, those kinds of things that you need to know. But these are the 10 monitors that I would suggest you start your search with. It's not surprising that you can get overwhelmed. If you go on Acer's website, at times they have 35 27-inch monitors to choose from, each a little bit different. So my concern is that you don't get overwhelmed, and hence we're looking at these top 10 recommendations. The number 2 is Acer. Their quality is pretty good lately. They've the different specs on the monitors, so that now they're coming close to the Asus monitors. Asus at one time, Asus and BenQ were probably, and LG were probably top 3. Acer's at times comparable now. The Acer is an IPS screen, 27 inch. It gives you better color, probably viewing angles a little bit better. And you see it's slower because it's an IPS screen, 4ms. On this presentation, you have the Amazon rated in the highest 5 and 4-star ratings. You'll see that Asus is only at 73%. Acer is at 80%. And BenQ in the mid-range pricing is at 91%. I've split my monitor recommendations into 3 categories: high-end, mid-range, and budget. At the very bottom of this presentation, you'll see the Asus PG279Q. It's a revision of the number 1 monitor, the one monitor by Asus, the PG278Q. The 279Q is an IPS screen. It's 27 inch, so it has better color and viewing angles, but you'll notice the big negative is the continuing Asus quality problems. Only 58% of the owners that bought this monitor gave it a high 5 or 4-star rating. Same thing at the bottom. I really like the LG monitor. It's a 34-inch widescreen, IPS, so great colors, 1440 by 3440. The negatives are, again, the quality problems. You've seen bleeding in this, just like in the Asus PG279Q. The other negative is it only does 5ms. So if you're a gamer, probably would suffice, but some gamers want the very fast 1ms. Also, it has no G-Sync, and it's only at 60 hertz refresh rate. But for $629, especially if you like to watch videos and you do different things on a desktop and you don't want to have a 3-monitor setup, the real estate is very helpful. Why would you want a 34-inch monitor? Well, after a while, if you spend an hour looking at different things, it's kind of nice and useful to be able to open different screens on one monitor, not constantly creaking your neck. It can happen to you. Okay, now we talked about different key terms that you need to know when you're looking at monitors. First one is faster response time. You're talking about an average 1ms to 4ms. What the faster response time does is it reduces the screen blur. It's preferred by gamers. Another definition, higher refresh rate. For instance, you can have a 60 hertz versus a 144 hertz, and you get increased frame rates. The action is less choppy. Moving around is fluid. Sometimes if you're playing a shooter game, you'll see the action just a little bit quicker than someone else, so it can be an advantage. Another term, G-Sync. specially equipped monitors thing. It helps eliminate tears, screen stutter. It's only for NVIDIA cards. G-Sync help matches the video card's FPS hertz rate to your monitor's screen refresh rate. And remember, each person may see tears and stutter and fluidity differently. But if you can save the money, you definitely need G-Sync, especially if you game. No two ways about it. FreeSync is another term. That's only for AMD Radeon cards. It essentially tries to accomplish what NVIDIA's G-Sync does. Screen tears. Screen tears is when an image is out of sync. You can have a monitor that has 60 hertz and a higher end video card which is capable of 144 hertz. So there's a struggle between the monitor and the higher hertz on a video card, and especially if you max out game settings, it may give you tears and as the multiple frames. As part of the next item we're going to talk about is just a quick review of some of the positive and negatives of all of this. So you see on the number one line item monitor, the Asus PG278Q, reviews in the last year or so, maybe a little bit less, but still continuing QA problems. So look on Amazon and Newegg reviews. Also remember that there's only one display port. There's no HDMI and there's no DVI. It's because this monitor was one of the first to come out at 27 inches at a 1440 monitor. So it's a little bit old, but it does a very good job. The Acer, a little bit higher price because it's an IPS screen and it has much better colors, better viewing angles, but the trade-off is the slower average 4 ms. In the min pricing range, remember the number 3 listed monitor, BenQ. It's a programmer's favorite, mostly because BenQ supplies them at many pro tournaments, but it has very good response time, very good viewing angles. So there's a reason the pro gamers like it. Next one is the Acer. It's at the lowest price, but it's a small 25-inch. I would say save up and buy a 27-inch monitor. Don't really buy a 25-inch unless you have to because of money. Next monitor, the fifth one is the Asus VG248QE. It's an older monitor. It's 144 megahertz, 1 ms. It's 1080p. It's a smaller size, 24-inch. If you remember, that's the monitor that I have in a 3-monitor setup because I enjoyed racing games. So the colors are exceptional, but that's only after you spend the time to make the adjustments in the color. So you'll like it, but you got to spend time with it. But again, you're limited to 24-inch. But in a 3-monitor setup, it takes a very large amount of desk space, but it does get you immersed into the things you do, but you do have to be able to deal with the bezel right in front of your eyes. Next, there's that LG $304 one. It's a 29-inch. I like it, but there's no online reviews. We need some owner reviews to see what we think of it. The last 2 items that were on this list here are the Asus PG279Q. That's essentially a revision of the other Asus, the $670 278Q. It's got one display port and one HDMI, so it's a little bit of an improvement, but there's still a very bad history, QA history on it, and bleed problems. I like it a lot. Hopefully, as time passes, you'll see that Asus has solved their QA problems. Same thing on the LG $629 UM95C. $629 on Amazon is a great price for a 34-inch. Yeah, take the chance again with no bleed problems. You might have to return one, so keep that in mind. It doesn't have 1 ms for gaming, so it also a 34-inch takes up a lot of desk space. But you want to mount it, maybe get your own mount, and then you'll have a lot of usable space underneath the monitor. So you can work around the negative of it being so large because It's also a positive as you can open many windows on that monitor. So that's a quick rehash of the discussion on these monitors.
So, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, and we would appreciate a subscription. So this is File One Man with One Man's Opinion. Thanks for watching. Take care.